they went out because they are supporting the president and countering the 3-year Operation 3 Years. I think that's what that is. But do they really have a mission and a purpose of doing that? I don't know, other than just supporting to see that the president stays. It doesn't matter who comes next or what's going to happen. They just want to see that the president stays in power, without really looking at the facts. We need to analyze: is our country going in the right direction? Those are the things that we need to ask ourselves. Because if you want to have a president stay in power, if the president is doing everything right, I would 100% support that he stays in power. Let's give him a chance. Let him continue to do that.
Right.
But if I see a president that's really in power, but may not necessarily be him. He doesn't have number one, he doesn't have the right advisors. People that advise the president should be people that are experienced, knowledgeable. They know what they're doing. They can lead the president in the right direction. If that's not there, it's going to be very difficult for this president to make anything happen. And so as a result, we have seen ourselves, or we've seen our country. I won't say there are not things that they're doing right. There are some things that they're doing right. They're doing some development, but the key to it is when you take over a country or anybody in leadership role, you really need to have a vision, but you also need to prioritize. Priority A, B, and C. What is the priority when we first took over this country? When he first took over this country, what were the priorities for the country? Yes, there were a lot of broken aspects of the country and in governance and democracy, but this is where the president and the leaders and the advisors all sit down and prioritize. They may have 20 things on the list, but out of the 20 things on the list, what is key? What should be the number one priority for Gambia? Things like healthcare, things like education, things like survival, just even commodity prices in the country. Things are expensive. People are complaining. Food is not enough for people, and also very expensive. What's available is expensive. So areas like that are things that I'm just naming a few. I'm not saying those are the main ones, but I'm sure those are healthcare is very important. Healthcare is really, really very important.
Right.
If you go to our hospitals, they are not very well equipped, number one, and two, they don't have supplies. So our people are flying or trying to find their way to Senegal, to go to Dakar, a neighboring country, for healthcare, and things like that. I think I'm going off topic here, so I don't know, but I just wanted to make sure that things like that are really put on the table as priority, and take care of the priorities. Priority A, B, C. And get those out of the way first, and then move on to the next thing. Building roads and building bridges, yeah, those are good for the infrastructure, but should they take priority over our survival? Should they take priority over our healthcare? I don't think so. So those are things that I look at. So I think I'm going off the strip here, but
yeah. Thank you so much.
If I start talking about healthcare, I'll go in too much into it.
Into it, yeah. But we'll have more on healthcare now. For our viewers, I'm pretty sure some of them are commenting on your statements. You mentioned one thing, not one thing, but a few things. You mentioned that the president should have, came out and face the Gambian people and be humble about this 3 years, and then expressed his vision for the country and circumstances that he thinks he need to. But we definitely haven't seen that on his side. And then basically you were saying that perhaps that has to do with the advices that the president got from his advisors. Now, if you look around the president, is barely, it looks like most of the people were recycled from Jammeh's administration, who were also an ill advice to the former president. So we have a lot of Gambian, talented Gambians around the globe. There shouldn't be any difficulties of finding those who can actually help President Barrow succeed.
The right
So
people,
what
correct.
was his issue? Not going and open up. You can open up a website and then like allow talents to to apply for some of this position and do and vet them, and then kind of circle yourself with the people who have the country at heart and who can really do the job. What do you think President Barrow's thinking was? Basically, not getting the right people.
Well, it all starts with we know that the president. First, I will say this in his defense. There is no university in the world that you can go to and say I'm going to study to become a president. Okay, so we all know that. However, education helps. Experience and knowledge, all of them help. And as a president, you do not need to know everything and how to run everything, but you need to surround yourself with people that knows those. If you're a president that's very familiar with administration, then surround yourself with the other areas that you don't know. And unfortunately, this president didn't surround himself with those people that can help him do those. For example, I may go off track here a little bit. I talked a little bit about some time ago in last year in my forum. I talked about civil service reform. If you think about just like what you just mentioned recently about going online and getting the right people, and all of that can happen, especially in different departments, when we have the right person in the PMO and head of the civil service area that can um, surround himself with people that has knowledge in human resource, because PMO's job is very important. It's very critical to be able to do the right selection of people. You really need to surround yourself with some human resource people that can really help recruit the right talented people without any discrimination, without any nepotism, without anything favor of anything, but look for the right people that they can um, they can recruit and bring into the government. And these will be talented people. You can get some experts, you can get some entrepreneurs, you can get some subject matter experts in certain areas to help the country, the civil servant, the whole country, basically. In each department, they can get the right people there that will help them with the right vision to move on to where they need to be, because the president does not have experience in any of these. So surrounding himself with the right advisors first was the beginning, and he didn't have that. And I think that's where everything fell apart.
Did he choose to not to have it, or it was lack of doing the it was lack of expertise in looking for these people?
It's more of a lack of know-how. The president doesn't know how, I think, and he didn't have the people that also know how to do this. So just not knowing how to do something, you're gonna go off with what you think you know or what you think will work, and that may not be the right thing. And definitely bringing Jem as old people back into the government was the wrong thing. Was not a good idea. If you really want change, you want to change something, you've got to change something to be able to get different results. You cannot continue using the same people and you expect to get different results out of them. That's not going to happen.
That's it. That's definitely a definition of insanity.
Yep.
Not
Exactly
to say
right.
that the president is not insane. He's insane, not sane. But what I was trying to just mention is having the right people around you. Is really it might not be a political score. I mean, like it could be a political score point by
Sure.
becoming successful as a leader, but it might not be you know those right people would be loyal to your to your some of your sneaky or ways of holding to power for so long. So I think there is a calculated calculated move on the side of the president to either go for this people who can do the job, and they might not agree with him 100%, than to go with those who don't actually have an idea but they will be loyal to him.
I agree with that. I
You agree with that
totally,
point?
you got that
So,
right. So,
so
and
I think,
unfortunately, he is on that route. He's on the route of getting the people that are going to say yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, and
yes.
do exactly what he wants instead of telling him, no, I don't think this is going to work.
Perhaps because he can get somebody like yourself who would definitely tell
No.
him
What
what he
about
doesn't
you?
want to hear.
There's a
But
lot of talented Gambians out there that can do a lot of things, but
yeah,
they're just out there, and our government have to find a way
grab
to
them.
attract them to bring them in there. You
Right.
know?
So
Yep.
moving on, so we're just gonna go ahead to the other topic because again we
Sure.
have so many important things to discuss here. Our viewers
Yes.
for sure they will enjoy this thing. Um, the Before I go, first I just want to lament on one thing, which is the coming of definitely the coming of the 3 years to counter this. It's kind of like to me it's really not necessary because already Barrow is there.
Yep.
So it hasn't been removed. If Barrow is removed, then they should have like the thing to go and say, listen, we want him back. So but Barrow is already there. He hasn't been removed. So the point of coming to say that in 5 years and peace building, and then
Yep.
the funny thing is having some of the government officials um, being part of them to add up the numbers and
Yep.
using resources that perhaps belong to the government, I mean, to the Gambian people,
Exactly.
transportation and stuff. You know, it's all, I mean, to me, it's not all not justifiable because, like, this what he's doing is playing politics, using all those resources that
Yep.
could have gone to healthcare, having, to pay for people's food, their hotel. I mean,
Exactly.
we have to be accountable. If you are not physically accountable, we will not succeed. And then our governments, they continue to not show physical responsibility. That's why, we are where we are.
Yep.
Gambia is blessed. If you look at the demography, you look at the people, the talent. But the reason why we're still poor is because we don't prioritize our resources. We have the human
Absolutely.
resources, we have everything that it takes to make it,
Sure.
where it needs to be. But the problem is our leaders are closing eyes and they're playing funny games just for their political score point and end up blaming it on people. And then what is so disastrous is like they will use tribal cards and then divide us. They will use all kind of means to make us hate one another for no
Yep.
reason. The politics supposed to be debate of ideas, and that the people who scores, public opinion, higher public opinion polls get advantage of that. But what we
Yep.
we are seeing in our nation is divide and conquer. Let's say one thing here, say another thing here. Let's
Yep.
make sure that we say things that we cannot implement. So I guess that's where we are. But
Yep.
again, the point of 2 years coming, definitely I personally didn't see any need to that. And then
Yep.
as far as Jammeh's situation, I think that was really funny because somebody like Jammeh should be welcome here, in a courtroom, not like having to
Exactly.
come and sit down here because he's not like an ordinary president. I mean,
Yep.
somebody who is responsible for all those atrocities need to answer questions, and then if
Yep.
found guilty, he should be finding his way to where he belongs. So
Exactly.
I don't think APRC are doing themselves any favor demanding a man to return who was sent to exile because of his mishaps. So
Absolutely.
I mean, giving them permit, I think perhaps they're giving everyone permit. So why not?
Yep.
I have nothing to say about that. They say it's democracy. Well, fine. If everybody's qualified to get a permit, that's fine. But for
Yep.
APRC folks, I mean, the Jammeh himself are having to ask them to go and protest. I think he has his nerves. He has a lot
Yep.
of nerves to do that because he should be thinking about what he's gonna face. But again, you know,
Hmm.
it's Gambia, it's free Gambia, so why not, enjoy the freedom? Let them APRC enjoy the freedom as well that they deny others.
Yep. Just like I said from the beginning, is the leadership. If we had when Barrow took power, if this government had said that they're going to go after Jammeh, go after him and bring him to justice and let him face the consequences that he created for himself, then Jammeh's movement would not, APRC would not have been out. They would not have been out, knowing that if he steps foot in Gambia, he is going to be facing justice. They won't be calling for him to come over. So all of those were not set in place from the beginning. That all of that should have been right from the beginning. I mean, if I were the president, I would have said, you know, I'm going to hold everybody accountable. Hold myself accountable first, but I'm going to hold everybody accountable. Whatever you did, that's what you did. You're going to face justice, so that I can also discourage this from happening moving forward. You know, all those people that were involved with Jammeh and killing people, arresting, unlawful arrests and torturing and killing and imprisonment and things like that, I'll hold them accountable so that I can discourage the current people from not doing anything like that, because they will know that same thing will apply to them. No one will be exempted.
Yeah.
If they had said that from the beginning, I think we wouldn't be seeing APRC out.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Sam, because looking at the way that this government has been going since the get-go, try to be lenient, you know, not only hiring recycling folks who failed our past government, but also not standing for the victims. How can you not stand for the victims after the killings, the unnecessary killings? This is not like killing military folks. This is like killing civilians. Anytime you kill a civilian, that's a crime. Because civilians has nothing to do with your military affairs.
Exactly.
If it is only military, I can understand. Maybe they want to coup, they want to do this, fine.
Right.
But having to put a plastic bag on somebody's face and suffocate them to death, what kind of cruelty is that? I mean, we have seen dictators, but none of those dictators did what Jammeh did.
Exactly.
And then he cluelessly sit there and then think that he didn't do anything. So I think like Barrow's government has been really disappointing in the fact that they haven't been aggressively advocating the prosecution of this guy until this guy Jammeh has the nerves to even stand and send an audio telling the people that they have an agreement. You know. So and then one thing that we have to understand as a country, we cannot reconcile, without having the true, the justice served, because this whole TRRC, I listen. I like the fact that TRRC is giving out information. I like the fact that we are knowing the truth. But I believe the gross people who have committed gross crimes, do we know them already? If we know them, why are we not prosecuting them and let them defend themselves before we even go to TRRC? People like Singade, people like Sabali, people like all the other Yankuba, those who are at risk, prosecute them before you even come to TRRC, and then people gonna go and sympathize them. That's like an insult to the whole entire victims. So the people who we're not sure about, people whose situation that we are not sure whether they have committed gross mass human rights abuse, those people we can take to TRRC. Let's try to get a clear fact, and then after take them to the court of justice but these people with gross, that would actually start to satisfy the victims, and then people will start getting healing little by little. And at the end of the day, after the TRRC, we have few folks to take to court and then deal with them, and then we move on as a nation. But you are living since Singate and other people coming and lying in front of us, and people people are trying to consider him as hero. Come on now, what are we doing here? This is such a, I don't know. We have talent, but our talents are very, very deficient in common sense. Common sense things.
Absolutely.
This whole TRRC will come, but the first thing that should have come, people we know that they have committed gross human rights abuse should have been prosecuted right away.
Yep. I totally agree with you 100%. And my belief is, when this, again, I'm not going to blame the president, but I'd like to say things like the way I'm thinking. If I were the president, when he took over the government or this country, one of the first things to do, knowing what happened in Jammeh's regime, is to really take care of the victims. I would have done something, find funds and do something to send those victims out to, or either send them out to get medical help, or bring some medical doctors that can really check them and see what they need and take care of them first. Because by the time you put a commission together to go through this TRRC and go through all the evidences and all the witnesses, one of them could have died. You know, one of them, somebody could be, and even
Right.
their conditions can get worse to a point where they cannot even be a witness. So I would have taken care of those people first, and then make these people, you know, Jammeh and his people, hold them accountable. You know, go after them. You know, one of the things that really made my brain what confused me the most recently is when I heard that our justice minister is pursuing or going after the country called Myanmar or something
Memo, yeah.
for human rights violations.
Right.
And I was like, what about our own country? Before you go outside of Gambia to prosecute
So,
another country, you have victims in your own country that were tortured and killed, and people that went through a lot of things, and you have those people in your country, Jammeh and his group, in the country that you should have taken care of first before you go after another country. So that was really it really blew my mind why our Gambia government was going after Myanmar, and not going after Jammeh and his
yeah,
people.
that's really, really, really that's really,
So
really,
that was I
yeah,
couldn't just understand that.
yeah. All right. So Sam, so we definitely have exhausted this further than we thought. I thought, you know, we didn't have much to say about this entire process and so forth, but I think we did. I hope our viewers, you know, you guys out there are definitely, you know, following the program, and then you're getting something out of it. Again, you know, we are not, you know people who know, you know, a lot, but you know, I give our honest opinion based on what we know, right? So let's move
Yeah,
down to move on to our final sector of this conversation, which is the
sure.
environment.
Yep.
Our environment, as you guys know, is very critical. If we want to succeed, we need to succeed environmentally. We cannot just say, "Hey, you know, Gambia, you know, we want to build roads, we want to build this thing, you know, we want to build, you know, bridges and so forth." Things that matters most, we don't focus on that, especially the environment. So in this discussion, we're going to look at fishery, and we're also going to look at sanitation. Without, you know, our fishery being regulated, without having to make sure that our pollutions, you know, sea, our seas are not controlled, we will not have, you know, good health, because the consumption of the fishes that we're going to eat, and that the fact that at some point all these fishes that are dying that we are seeing on the coast, you know,
Mhm.
we're to a point that we're going to come to a point where we're gonna lack the kind of fish that we want to eat. And also, again, what is the gain for us, in what is it that we need to do to regulate this? It's very important, and National Assembly need to really step up. They cannot be there like a rubber stamp National Assembly. Just,
Yep.
you know, don't critique or don't look into everything that is in the best interest of the country. You know, that's why we have check and balance. If you're a legislative body, you have to check and balance other bodies as well, and then make, you know, sound judgments, especially when it comes to environment. So we are not seeing a lot of pressure from the National Assembly that's supposed to be regulating our laws to make sure that these things don't happen, or if they're going to happen, we got to make sure that they don't have side effect like pollution and then killing our fishes and stuff like that. The other thing is sanitation. Without cleanliness, without the ability to clean our cities and towns, our villages, without the ability to, take care of our our environment, we're going to have problem because of sanitation issue. That's why we're running into all this malaria problem. Our
Yep.
folks are not disposing their garbages on time and then at the right places, and also they don't have the capacity to be able to dispose these things. Because of all those, that's why we're having a lot of problem in the Gambia. Look, we don't even have the medical facility to even sustain our people. Now we're
Yep.
talking about being, so slack in maintaining our environment. That means causing more problem health-wise. So
Yep.
that's why sanitation should be every man's job, every woman's job, to make sure that our sanitation is maintained. Everybody take it upon themselves. I know if the facilities are not there, we can do it, but our government should prioritize. That's the reason why I support mayor, the mayor of KMC's, push for clean sanitation. I mean, clean environment, because what happened is it promote health. So, Sam, I'm gonna allow you to really. This is an area that you are an expert on. I'm just giving an introduction. So we're just gonna listen to you and see where you take us. We are in your hands.
Well, thank you, Sawaneh. This is in my heart, and the sanitation is in my heart. I am actually I am a certified professional food safety instructor in America and a
Wow.
registered food safety examinations
So
proctor
we
as
need you
well
in the Gambia then.
in America here. So, so if I go to Gambia today, I'll be shutting down a lot of things. I'll be shutting down the Chinese people. I
That's
will
why
shut
we
them
need
down
you there.
completely. So so
The only thing is, I don't know if we can
that's
pay
an
you.
area that when I look at, I feel sorry that our National Assembly.
Mhm.
I don't know. I've not gone into the Constitution to look at what's in there for, what kind of regulations we have. But National Assembly needs to start with them having, you named it, the National Assembly needs to have very good regulations for our environment. Then, in the National Assembly, they have committees in there. These committees in there that they have that should be responsible for making sure that they hold our EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, accountable for their job. They need to be able to go out. If the laws are already there, then we're not enforcing it. That group is not enforcing it. And because if that group was enforcing it, I would not have been seeing videos from Tanjay, Burfoot, and Tujerang, all the way to Gunjur area along the Atlantic Ocean, where the Chinese are fishing and destroying our environment, leaving a lot of dead fish out there, which pollutes our environment. And this is our fish. This is Gambians find it difficult to buy fish to eat, and Chinese are destroying them. And they taking what they want and take it, ship it to China, and then leave the rest out there in our environment. If you think about it, in America here, just for environment part of it, there are fines that can be up to $50,000 per fine, sorry, per violation per day. So
Wow.
if you think about that, I'm just giving an example. Gambia government should have very tough regulations on these people so that, and also hold our EPA, environmental compliance agencies accountable to
Accountable. Yeah.
make sure that they do regular inspections on all these places every month. And if an environmental agent go to the seaside and see violations, number one, the first thing is they need to document it. They need to document it, bring the Chinese the Chinese authorities there, and let them know this is a violation and needs to be cleaned within. Give them time. There are certain violations that could be given 24 hours to clean. Some can be 72 hours. Some can be 48 hours. Some can be 10 days to 12. It could be even a month or 45 days. It all depends on what kind of violation it is.
Mhm.
But they need to be documenting those and say, first time they see a violation, they need to document it, bring it to their attention, and say this needs to be cleaned up by so and so date.
But so yeah.
And they need to make sure they hold themselves accountable by going back there. They need to make sure they follow up, go back there and check to make sure that was corrected. If it was not corrected, then they note it as a repeat violation and give them a fine. And fines also, when it comes to environmental violations, fines double, just like in America. Health department goes to a place and see that you're not really sanitizing your food contact surfaces. They will give a warning for the first time. Second time, they will write it as a repeat violation. And they come back, then it's a fine. They can start with a $250 fine. The next time will be $500 fine. The next time it doubles up to $1,000 fine. So they double up. This is what they need to do to the Chinese people to make sure they correct things and maintain it. If not, they're going to find them to a point where Gambia government will either collect a lot of money from them for fines, or they get to a point where they can shut them down. They can say, you know what, this is your final warning. Any future violations of this will result in further disciplinary actions up to and including termination of your contract. You see what I mean?
Right.
When they terminate their contract, then they're done. And prior to doing that, in fact, I can go into more into this. There's another section to this where the Gambia government could have negotiated from the beginning when the Chinese were coming. And first time they were signing contracts, they needed to make sure that, number one, in the contract, they state that if we're going to allow you to come fish here, you need to import Gambians and give at least 90% of your employees should be Gambians. Get into, negotiate some things that's going to be better for Gambia. And also let them so that Gambians can learn more into this to a point where we can terminate their contract and let Gambians take over fishing. So we can give all those resources and send the Chinese out. Chinese people think that, because Africa is poor, they can go to Africa and do anything they want. Well, they know they're not going to come to America and do that. They can't go to UK and do that because there are tougher rules and regulations.
Right.
So, anyway, the other part of this is, without wasting too much time, is
no, that you definitely actually hammering it the right way. I mean, I'm pretty sure our viewers are really getting some knowledge on this. But go ahead.
Sure. The other part is the toxic environment that they create.
Right.
That when I say toxic means poison. In food safety, we say toxic. Toxic means poison.
Right.
So the environment that they create in our air and in our surroundings, in our communities, this is where bacteria and virus get into our air and can end up on our food. And the reason I say that is, if you look at it in America here, they, in the whole world, there are over 40 different types of bacteria and viruses. But in America here, they narrowed the worst ones to the very worst ones to be, like, they call them the big six. They call them the big six. The big six bacteria and viruses are Salmonella typhi, you have norovirus, you have hepatitis A, and you have Shigella. And what's the other one? There's one that I'm missing there. I can't just remember. But there are 6 of them that's we call the big six. The big six.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, E. coli is the other one. E. coli. So these really can contaminate food and make people sick very easily, very quickly. They are very contagious. They spread out quickly, and some of them are carried by flies. Okay. Some of them are carried by flies, and if you think how many flies, how many flies are in the Gambia, the Gambia is full of flies, and leaving fish out to die, you're creating more toxic environment, because flies will be going to that fish, and carrying bacteria and virus and transferring them to our market, where people selling food, whether it's meat or fish or mangoes or tomatoes and onions and all kinds of things. Flies can really transfer all of those bacteria and viruses, especially bacteria, to those products, the products that we consume. So it's very critical to make sure that our environment, our markets, and our cities, our everywhere is all clean, and especially the hospitals and daycares are very critical, and here's why. In food safety, they are considered the high-risk population. When they say high-risk population, is people that are seriously ill, people that are taking medication, people that have compromised immune system. They have very life-threatening illness that causes them to take certain medications that weakens their immune system, so they're high risk. And of course, children that are preschool age children. The reason why these are considered high risk population is because the young kids, preschool age children, have not built a strong immune system to
Yes,
be able to fight any disease. So
exactly,
they get sick very quickly. Now
exactly.
you also look at older people. The older people get the very like senior citizens. Their immune system have weakened with their age as well, so they can also get sick very quickly. And Gambia does not have good facilities and medical facilities and medical equipment and supplies to help them.
Right.
So we need to protect them. And to protect them is we need to protect start with our environment. So very quick, very important. Sanitation is key.
Sanitation,
Our
yeah.
area, our area council, local what is it called, local government, which is area council is under local government. Uh, like you mentioned, KMC is doing a great job. There is
Right.
more to be done, but they're doing a great job. They started off very well,
Yeah.
and in cleaning our streets, cleaning our markets and other places as well. All the communities need to do the same thing, because this is how we can fight some of these bacteria and get them out of our environment and keep ourselves safe. Now, there is a difference between cleaning and sanitizing. Cleaning is removing dirt and soil from the top surface, but really cleaning does not clean or kill bacteria. Sanitizing is what cleans bacteria. So if you look at it in America here, every restaurant you go to, every place that serves food must have what they call sanitizing solution. You will see red buckets with a clean towel in that red bucket that has sanitizing solution. They use that to wipe all the food contact surfaces so that they can kill bacteria.
Exactly.
That's what kills bacteria. In Gambia, I know that's not happening. You go to the hospitals, I don't know if they're sanitizing their equipment and they're sanitizing everything that they touch, everything, even the door handles, especially in a hospital.
Right.
Everything need to be sanitized. And, so those are very critical. And the other part that can kill bacteria, what helps Gambia is the cooking part. The cooking also can kill bacteria. Even if the food is contaminated with bacteria, we cook it. Fish, let's say fish need to be cooked at 130, 145 degrees at Fahrenheit temperature, hot temperature. Um, Turkey, chicken, poultry, everything on the poultry need to be cooked at 165 degrees hot to be able to kill bacteria that may be any bacteria that may be present in there. So every type of food you see has a required minimum internal cooking temperature.
Wow.
And unfortunately, I don't know that our health department is educating all this to our people, but we need to have programs in Gambia television services where the health department can go in and really educate people about our own sanitation, health, things that can make people take care of themselves and avoid all these contaminations, because they can be dangerous, they can be deadly, and they could be part of the reasons why some people are dying. We just not knowing it. We
Not
just don't
knowing
know
it.
it.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, it's a long topic.
yeah. Thank you. Now, Mr. Sam, what I
Yeah.
want to ask you is that when you come to our fishery,
Yes.
okay, we've seen a lot of we've seen fishes all over Gunjur
Yep.
shores and other places.
Yep.
Um, People are asking why is this happening? What is the government doing about it? And then
Well.
how can we who is authorizing these people to kill all these fish? Can you just go into a little bit
Yep.
about that, and what are the measures we can take to avoid those? Because anytime I see those fish
Yep.
laying around that people are not eating, is a
Yep.
wasteful thing. I mean, I feel sad about that.
Absolutely. This all come from our. I think it has something to do from starting with our Ministry of Fisheries, because they had to have contract with these people to be able to come on behalf of our government. They have to
Okay.
have the contract with the Chinese people to come fish in our country in the first place. Uh, those contracts that they sign
Right.
is where all of these should have been laid out to protect our people, protect our environment. So Chinese people know that, yeah, we can fish here, but we've got to hold ourselves accountable. We've got to make sure we protect the environment. If not, there are tougher regulations that could be fines and even terminating our contract if we don't follow certain things. So that's number one. So the contract with between them and the government.
And the government, okay. So
The
the
second
government is on board on this, you were saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. Nobody can go from one country to another country and go fish there without the government knowing that. So the government knows this. Government should be, the fisheries department should know this, which is under the government, right? So that's one thing. The second part is an independent body, which should be our Environmental Protection Agency. They should be doing their job. Even if a contract was given to the Chinese by our government, they are there to protect our people.
Okay.
They need to be the ones that goes out to inspect what the
This
Chinese
place
are doing,
exactly,
and how are they polluting our environment or destroying our fish, you know, and leaving toxic environment for our people. They need to be the ones that say, you know what, you guys clean this up. If not, you're shutting down. I'm shutting them. If, like I said, if I go to Gambia and I was given this responsibility, I'm not saying I need to do that. But
you'll shut them down.
if I were to do
pretty
that,
sure
and I
about
get
it.
there the first day, I'm going to see violations. I'm going to say, you know what, you guys are out of here. That's it. You're out of here. I'm going to say, everybody, stop what you're doing right now.
Gambians will
Stop
be happy.
right now. We got to clean this up first. I'm going to shut them down and make them clean everything first. Then, if I were to give them a chance, then I will rewrite the rules. And because I'm going to look at what policies they have in place. If they are strong enough, then I'm going to make sure they have been followed up and
implemented,
and enforced. Yeah. If the policies are not strong enough, then I'm going to rewrite it and say, from now on, this is what we're going to do. If not, you guys shut down and pack up and go home. Just like that, you know. So our Environmental Protection Agency that needs to be enforcing it is part of the problem as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like I said, the solution to it is the government need to step up. And I think part of the reason why this is happening is also is, you know, as we all know, in Gambia, there's a lot of corruption in Africa.
Of course.
There's a lot of corruption in Gambia.
We feed and breathe on that.
Exactly. So maybe there are people that have been bribed underneath by the Chinese people. That's why they're keeping quiet.
No.
See, I don't know that. I don't know. I'm just saying maybe that's the problem there. And in that case, this is why it's always important when a new government come in place, change everything. Change everybody.
Recycle everything. Get rid of all the recycled folks.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, there was a call coming into my phone here, and I'm using my phone for this. But yeah, that's where that could be a big problem. If there was corruption in there and people that were bribed to put money in their pockets, and they could be seeing all this and can't say anything because the Chinese people gave them money. You know what I mean? They won't be able to say anything. If they, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm not accusing anybody, but I'm just saying if that's the case, that will be a problem. And this is why it's important. Like I said, when a new government starts, come with a clean slate, come with fresh face, get rid of all the old people that have been doing the same job for 20, 30 years or 15 years, and we've not seen any change. If you want to make changes, if you want to see some difference or some changes, you've got to change the people that were there. Change them and bring a fresh mindset that will make sure that these people are held accountable. If you do those changes, I think we start fresh and we have people that are going to follow up and hold people accountable. I think that will solve our problem there if they will stick with the program. But corruption really
is the key. Is the root of all evils.
Is very detrimental to our environment. Is very detrimental to our country and to our administration and governance.
You're saying that basically corruption is the source of all these malpractices.
It could be, yes, it could be. It could be, because if not, I don't understand why our own Gambian people will not get up. Our Environmental Protection Agency will not get up and go after these Chinese people and shut them down. I don't understand why they won't do that. Like I said, if I were the one today and I step foot in Gambia and they tell me you are in charge of this, I will shut them down immediately.
So somebody is using our nation's resources in the expense of his or her pocket.
Absolutely,
Somebody or
absolutely.
some folks somewhere.
It's got to be. And if that happened, even if that happened, let's say they bribe the top person. Let's say they bribe the minister. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just giving a scenario.
Right.
Say they
It
bribe the
could be
minister
anybody.
for
Yeah.
fisheries, for example. Well, if the president is hearing all of this, he is the one that needs to take charge at that point.
Yeah.
He's the
The
one that
bulk.
needs to say to the minister of fisheries, shut these people off, turn them off. Let's go clean up. If they can't clean up, well, guess what? They're not going to operate anymore. But we need to make sure they clean up and stop their operation and of course give them heavy fines. If first if I were the president, I'm gonna demand documentations for where they inspected these places in the first place. I want to see who visited them first and what were the violations. What did they see? What did they write down? And what was the written documents they wrote about these people? And then I want to see the follow-ups. And if I see that the problem is our own people not doing their job, I'm going to get rid of them. I'm going to fire them immediately and hire new people that are going to hold them accountable. You see, if
This
I
is
see
what.
that yes, they have been there and they visited them and inspected them and gave them warnings and gave them documentations and warnings and fines, and then I'm going to turn around and go to the Minister of Fisheries and ask and demand to see evidence of where these people, what are the action plans? What were the action plans for these people? And what have been done? Who followed up? When? I'm going to find out about all of it. If not, again, I'm going to get rid of the Minister of Fisheries. That's what I would do if I were the president.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I hope the president is
Gambia,
listening
we
because
need people. We need a president that's going to set example. We need people, not only the president, but anybody in leadership role, whether it's the president overseeing the country, the minister overseeing his department, the directors in different areas, managing directors. They all need to do their job and hold themselves accountable and hold their people accountable so that things can go right.
I think the enforcement part, and also because the president doesn't have the know-how, which he admitted even in the beginning, right?
Right.
That's why we consider him as a transitional president.
Exactly.
I think that has also contributed to all this malpractices and all these corruptions because the enforcement power is not there.
No, it's not. It's not.
So once the enforcement power is not there, you cannot be on top of your game. So
no, you can't. You can't until it gets worse. When it gets worse, that's when the president will hear about it. And when he hears about it, that's when he needs to take action.
I'm pretty sure he heard a lot about this thing because he's seen it. If we are seeing it on Facebook and Twitter and all other social medias, I probably seen it. Now, you mentioned something about the sanitation. I think we need re-education. People need to know that they cannot, first of all, the facilities is not there. It's not there. Okay, we're talking about the plastic bags. Is causing contamination. They try to stop that. Well, I just came from Gambia, say 6 months ago. Then you have to buy a bag to put stuff in. Okay, it's like it's not plastic. I mean, most plastic is abolished there, so to speak, because it creates some problems with like recycling.
Yes.
And then it can create pollution and all that.
Yep.
But I agree with all those things. Now the only thing is like you have to buy a bag wherever you go. Even if you buy meat, there's this bag. Now they have these newspapers that are imported from here in the West. Now nobody knows who uses these newspapers, who sneezes on them.
Yep.
Okay, these newspapers, who touch them? I don't want to be very distant petty in this, but these newspapers go through a lot.
Yep.
Now you bring that newspapers and now people are putting their food in them. Come on now.
Yep.
What kind of sanitation people? They wrapping the bread and other stuff. I have to go with my own plastic bag, so my own container to get my bread wrapped.
Wow.
Now our people, when it comes to gloves, okay, this hand here touches everything. That's why we have spoons, right? I don't want to be acting like very Western or something like that, because I know I came far. Okay, I used to live in the village, so I don't wanna,
Yep.
I've done it,
We
all.
all did.
Okay,
We all did. We all
so we
came
used
from
to
the
eat
village,
out, hand and stuff like
Yep.
that. Fine.
Yep.
I mean, those are back in the days. It doesn't mean that you cannot improve from that. Now, but they're touching the bread,
Hmm.
and then they're touching this with the hands and giving it
Yep.
to somebody else. I mean,
Yep.
it'll be okay if you eat it yourself. Fine, it's your hand,
Yep.
but it's not a way. It's not, something that people need to continue doing. I think
Sure.
our government should fund a lot of workshops
Yep.
and health awareness, programs,
Oh
to
yeah.
make sure that people need to know that certain things are contagious. Once
Yes.
you touch it, and then certain diseases can transmit to others,
Yep.
or just by physical touching things, and not, like things like, on apples or other foods.
Yep.
So it is highly important when it comes to sanitation. We also consider this, that folks need to start using, things that will not be contagious, that will not transmit diseases from one place to another. And
True.
I also like having to use the same, toothbrush, or the same. I mean, of course, like we use the same drinking cups,
Yep.
but all those things we need to actually understand that somebody having something can really be transmitted quickly. So, and
Yep.
we don't have the vaccination. So this is why
Hmm.
we have all this kind of sicknesses that
Yep.
cannot be cured in our nation. So, is this is a health area? I'm pretty sure you guys are the experts, but this is against responsibility. We have to come to the government in everything we discuss. At the end of the day, they are the people leading us. They are the
Yep.
enforcers. They are the ones that need to listen to programs like this one,
Excuse me.
and make the best use of it to their advantage.
Yep.
So that's why
Yep.
we're having a shows like this. It's not about criticizing someone. We love
Sure.
everyone. I mean, I'm a big fan of the president. I meet with him, but I think, it is at his advantage and his government to make sure that they pick some of the things. It's not like everything we say here makes sense.
Sure.
No, there are certain
Right.
times we're just gonna be talking about things that would not make sense. It's probably not
Right.
even feasible. But
Right.
that doesn't mean you cannot listen to it and pick up the ones that are that
Exactly.
can be implemented, or that
Right.
can
Right.
actually help to you. I would have
Yep.
done the same thing. So I guess, we need re-education in our health, and we
Yep.
need probably more equipment, more funding.
Yep.
Like we have seen KMC Mayo working on getting trucks, getting making plus. I mean, like garbage cans out of ties, or out of whatever they making up. I went to his office, and then he was showing me all that. So those are the kind of things that we need to do. And then the citizen has to take responsibility. We cannot blame government for everything. We
Yep.
want to sit here and say, we put our hands together and say, the government, the government. Who are the government? We are it. We are the one
We
who put
are.
them there. We are part of them.
Yes. Yep.
So we have to take responsibility. Let's pick up litters from different places. Let's organize
Yep.
community affairs whereby we're going to say, assign people to be responsible, making sure that we look at this particular part of the community. Certain
Yep.
people are responsible to make sure that their garbages are collected, and whatever fundraising they can do within themselves. We've seen
Yep.
them, we've seen Gambians going to party every day,
Yep.
throwing money to these jelly bars and stuff like that. Why can't
Yep.
they organize a community-based programs that will help their community to actually take care of their sanitation and other issues? So I
Absolutely.
think, everything has to, we have to think outside the box. We cannot just be doing the same thing and expect
Sure.
different results.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got it right. You got that right. You said that very well. Just like you said, we are talking here. We're talking things that we know. There are some things that are quick fixes, and there are some things that may take time for the government to be able to get to them. We can make recommendations. They can look at them and call their subject matter experts and have the experts sit down and analyze things and see what they can do. There are certain things they can do. There are some things that are easy fixes in Gambia. There are some things that are going to need planning and funding to be able to do them. And we know that as a poor country like Gambia, there are certain things they're not going to be able to do right away. It will need planning, budget, and funding for them to be able to do that. But when it comes to healthcare, you know, health, people's health is of paramount importance. It's very important. It is something that cannot be neglected, you know. So, and just like you said, there's a lot to do, and food safety is my area, my one area of expertise. So, so, you know, if I start talking about that, I could be going until tomorrow, until the next day or so. But we don't have that much time.
That much time,
But the
yeah,
simple thing you
definitely.
said is hand washing. Hand washing is very, very important. You know, things that we touch with our hands. When we go to, that's why in America, you cannot open a restaurant. You cannot be selling food anywhere without going to a food safety class first. You have to be what they call serve safe certified. Anybody that opens a restaurant and anybody that opens a business where you're going to sell food, the health department is going to require you. The very first thing you need to do is to be food safety certified first. And that certification has to be displayed in your store. So when they walk in, they can see that, yes, somebody is here. The person in charge here has been food safety certified, because all of those are covered there, so that that person can in turn teach his people to make sure that food safety practices are in place every single day, because it's very important. A simple thing like even a person that's handling food, it's very important to make sure that the hand washing is done frequently, because you have to wash your hands even if you shake somebody's hand. You need to wash your hands when you touch your apron. You need to wash your hands when you touch your clothes. You need to wash your hands when you touch your hair. You need to wash your hands when anytime you touch any part of your body. You need to wash your hands when you smoke a cigarette. You need to wash your hands when you touch your raw meat. I mean, it's almost
Everything,
everything that you
everything.
touch with your
Wash your
hand, you've
hands.
got to
Come on,
wash the
folks.
hands, because the hands is your hands are what really most of the time is what really can transfer bacteria from one food to another, or from a food contact surface, because the place that you put your food on and to cut the meat and all the onions and tomatoes, that's something you're going to touch with your hand. Your hand has to be very clean before you can touch all of those.
That,
And all of that area need to be really washed, rinsed, and sanitized, so that you're not contaminating anything. And most importantly, people don't know this. In Gambia, especially, even in America, this is happening here.
of course, here
There's
sometimes it's even
a
worse.
lot of things that happen when somebody is diagnosed with let's say Shigella or Salmonella or Salmonella typhi, or maybe norovirus. Norovirus is very contagious, and these stays in your intestine for weeks. Sometimes some of them
Look at
can stay
that.
there for weeks, even after the symptoms are gone. And
Wow.
you can easily contaminate everything that you touch just by going to the restroom, use the restroom, and not properly washing your hands. People think
Wow.
that they go to the bathroom, use the restroom, they come out, they wash their hands, they think it's okay. Some may not even. I watch people. You know, I am, of course, where I am now.
Man,
I
I've
drive a
seen a
lot.
lot
You
of
know,
that.
I cover for my job. I cover 4 states right now. I cover Indiana, state of Kentucky, state of Tennessee, and Ohio. And I will be driving and going to different places and stop at a rest area, go to a restroom and use the restroom, and I'll see my fellow men come in, use the restroom. They don't even wash their hands and walk out again. I've
I've
seen that,
seen that a
and
lot.
I was like, oh my God, you know,
I've seen that a
So
lot.
it's very important for someone that really uses the restroom to really wash their hands thoroughly with soap and hot water. That's what helps clean the bacteria out of there, out of your hands before you go touch anything. Because if not,
Hot water and soap.
well, I don't. If not, what happened is, you know, their hands. And I'm sorry to say this, and I'll have to say it because we're in this topic. You know, bacteria and virus are things that we cannot see with our eyes. You can only see them through a microscope. So if somebody uses, let's say somebody got diagnosed with norovirus, okay, and they go use the restroom, they wipe themselves and think they're clean and walk out without washing their hands, and everything they touch, that norovirus will be on that. They go home and touch
Oh
their
my
refrigerator,
goodness.
that norovirus will be on that refrigerator door. That means your kids touch that refrigerator to open to get water or anything out of it, they get it. That's why sometimes you'll see in one house somebody get diarrhea, everybody gets the same diarrhea.
Yes, I've seen that too.
Part of the reason for that is because the first person that was whether they were diagnosed or not. They may not know that they had something. They just saw that they had diarrhea. But that diarrhea is a symptom for foodborne illness. Okay, when somebody has diarrhea or vomiting or jaundice and things like that, all of those are symptoms that tells the person, if they know it, that you may be having a foodborne illness. And the foodborne illness is caused by bacteria or virus. So if you're not careful, you're gonna, because some of these are the big sticks are contagious. They can spread out very quickly. That's why one person gets it in the house, everybody gets it in the house, because of what they touch, the remote control that they touch, the refrigerator door they touch, the bathroom door that they touch that everybody touches, the front door that they touch that everybody touches as well. They can all get it from all of these, and anything else, cell phones, anything that you think of that they can touch with their hand. So it's very critical, and this is the whole thing. Just like you said, Gambia we need our health experts to go on television and create these programs out there where they can educate people on food safety, so we can keep ourselves and our environment safe. It's very critical. There's a lot to be said there. And the only thing that I see that really helps Gambia is cooking, because cooking really can eliminate some bacteria, and some can reduce them to a safe level where even if there's bacteria in food, you can eat it and will not get sick because there's only a small amount. And bacteria needs certain things to grow. We call them, in food safety, we call them FATTOM, FATTOM. Bacteria needs food, acidity, time, temperature, oxygen, and moisture.
Wow.
All of these are things that bacteria needs. If you can, and the only thing as human beings, the only thing we can eliminate to help ourselves or to control the two things that we can control, that is time and temperature. You cannot control how much acid is in the food. You cannot control how much moisture is in the food. You can't control all the other things but time and temperature. Time, when I say time, is how long do you allow food to stay in temperature danger zone? And when I say temperature danger zone, that also is because all cold food need to be kept at 41 degrees or lower to be able to, bacteria doesn't like cold and it doesn't like hot. So anything between cold and hot, that's what is called the favorable temperature for bacteria. See what I mean?
So that means definitely I will now be eating things that are either hot or cold.
Yes. Yeah, because cold food need to be kept at 41 degrees or lower, and hot food need to be held at 135 degrees or higher. Anything between those two temperatures is called temperature danger zone. This is the zone that bacteria like to grow. It's just like springtime for us, for human beings. Springtime, we all want to go out because it's nice outside. We want to play and have fun. Bacteria likes to be in the temperature danger zone. They multiply, they double themselves every 20 minutes in the temperature danger zone. So that's why I said time is critical. The more time you allow food to sit in temperature danger zone, the more bacteria it can allow to grow in it. Wow. And to a point where it can make people sick.
Yeah.
So, but it's a lot of information.
but we cannot exhaust all this when it comes to health. But what we will do for the benefit of time, we will have to schedule this for another time, whereby we're gonna go specifically on the health,
food safety,
and then kind of educate ourselves about things that we need to take as personal responsibilities, so that we can we can keep our health and also educate others. But definitely, this has been a great session, Mr. Sam Ceesay. Your contribution has really sparked our audience, and I'm pretty sure all of us, are learning from this. And this is the kind of things that we need in the Gambia now, rather than going toe to toe on a political platform and just talk about throwing punches to score political points. What we need is what we can do for our country, what we can do to educate one another, because education is an equipment. It empowers people to make decisive decisive choices that will elevate them, and then in turn elevate others. So without any hesitation, definitely we will be inviting folks on this platform to come and then educate our audience,
Okay.
everyone, we are all learners. Nobody knows
Sure.
everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Anytime you think that you know everything, that's when you don't know.
Right.
So I am
Yep.
encouraging all of you to join us in our bi-weekly programs. We schedule it every 2 weeks. Go to our Facebook page, likes New Gambia platform. We have also our links for our WhatsApp forum, and I'm pretty sure it's a very highly interactive forum. So let's focus on Gambia first. I think at this point, that's what we need to do. We definitely are lucky here today to have the freedom that we all fought for, and then now we just have to take it to another level. I'm pretty sure with everyone doing their part, especially our legislative body, our executive, and our judiciary folks, if they are all doing their part and the citizens also doing their part, we will have the Gambia that we been looking for or that we quest every day. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have uphill battles. We're gonna have incidents that we will definitely step on each other's foot. But let's know that politics is just a game that allow the players to sell their points. But the most important thing is once you are given the opportunity to serve, you should deliver. Don't just talk the talk. You have to walk the walk. You have to deliver for the very reason that people put you in power, just because you want to use the power to fatten your pocket, and then through corruptions. So we have seen that in the past, and it hasn't helped the average Gambians. We need folks to really be there for the people, because you seek people's mandate to do the job, then you should deliver. And that is basically why we are different from the West, because we've seen how they has evolved politically. You don't need to fight with someone, because of politics. You don't need to cost out. You don't need to you know hate somebody because you have different political philosophy. That is not the way it's supposed to. It is a game that you play, and whoever sells their points, you know, rise up and then take up the challenge. But our people have taken a different route when it comes to politics. We've seen a lot of unfortunate postings, unfortunate attacks, stuff like that. We are all one family. Gambia is one people. Everyone is interrelated. So we need to enhance that beauty of our culture, and then love one another more. So Sam, I thank you so much. I don't know if you have a few lines to just your final words to our audience. It's been a great time having you here, and we look forward to talk more about food safety. But give us your final words.
Well, just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity and inviting me to this platform to be here today. And it was really my pleasure to kind of, I'm also learning. As we all know, education is very important. We are in this world. There's so much to learn, and we can't learn all of it. We can't know all of it. So no one is perfect. I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to be on the shows and the talk shows, and I'll learn from everybody else as well. So, but it's more important that we all share. Whatever we know, we share that. And the more people we can educate on certain areas, the better we're going to be as a society. So I thank you for giving me this opportunity and inviting me to be on this. And I look forward to future talk shows. I look forward to them. Food safety is one that like I said, I'm an expert in America already in here, so I don't mind sharing what I know. Um, there are other areas. We can talk about corruption. We can talk about the hospital. And all of that. So there's too many things that we can talk about. But I look forward to the future ones. So I'll be keeping in touch with you and let me know, and then we'll take it from there. And I thank everyone for your time.
Yeah, thank you. And then
Yep.
final words is everyone's responsibility, you know, to uplift the nation in any way we can, either
Yep.
through financially, yeah, sharing knowledge, interacting, elevating people's spirit, and making them believe in Gambia again. So it is something that everybody is welcome. If you are watching this show and you want to be part of this talk show, definitely let us know. Go to New Gambia platform, search it on Facebook, and then contact us, and we will definitely program it. I think we have some guests. We have Mr. Balde, Ibrahim Balde. He couldn't make it today, and we have Modi Kurubali also. It's coming up in the next few weeks. So we are looking for more people who want to engage and then share their experiences and then also their opinions to help the country move forward. So I thank you all, the viewers, and then you've been great all the way. Sam, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
All right,
Alrighty.
take care.
All right, I'll get off here now.
All right, take care. Bye.
Yep.